The Chinese entertainment world is reeling from what could be the most devastating scandal of the year, as Liu Yuning and Zhao Lusi were both photographed arriving at the Beijing Tax Bureau this morning following explosive allegations from Zhao Lusi's former agency claiming that both actors have been systematically evading tax payments for years. Why would two of China's most successful and bankable stars suddenly find themselves at the center of tax fraud accusations that carry potential criminal penalties, including massive fines and even prison time? The allegations, filed officially by Zhao Lusi's previous management company in what many are calling an act of pure revenge following her acrimonious departure from the agency, claim that she failed to properly declare and pay taxes on tens of millions of yuan in earnings from endorsement deals, appearance fees, and other income streams, and that Liu Yuning was somehow complicit or involved in these alleged schemes in ways that make him equally liable under Chinese tax law. The timing couldn't be more suspicious or more potentially catastrophic for both actors, coming just as they're at career peaks with multiple high-profile projects and endorsement deals worth hundreds of millions collectively. Tax evasion is taken extraordinarily seriously in China, with previous celebrity tax scandals resulting in career-ending consequences, 8-figure penalty payments, and complete industry blacklisting that destroyed years of careful image building in a matter of days. The scene outside the Beijing Tax Bureau this morning was absolute chaos as news spread that both Liu Yuning and Zhao Lusi had been summoned for questioning regarding the allegations filed by her former agency. Paparazzi and entertainment journalists who somehow got wind of the situation descended on the location en masse, creating a media circus that forced security to establish barriers and control access to the building. Liu Yuning arrived first around 9:30 a.m., accompanied by what appeared to be legal counsel and representatives from his current agency, his expression grim and refusing to acknowledge the shouted questions from reporters demanding to know whether the tax evasion allegations were true. Approximately 20 minutes later, Zhao Lusi arrived in a separate vehicle, also flanked by legal and management representatives, looking visibly stressed and keeping her head down as she rushed from her car into the building while camera flashes erupted around her. The fact that both actors showed up on the same morning, at roughly the same time, and were apparently there for related matters has sent speculation into absolute overdrive about what exactly their connection is regarding these allegations, and whether they're being investigated as somehow working together in schemes to avoid their legal tax obligations. The allegations themselves, according to leaked documents that have been circulating on social media and in entertainment industry chat groups, are incredibly specific and detailed in ways that suggest Zhao Lusi's former agency has been compiling evidence and documentation for months, with the explicit purpose of creating maximum legal and reputational damage. The filing reportedly claims that Zhao Lusi established multiple companies and shell corporations that were used to channel income in ways that reduced her apparent personal earnings and therefore her tax liability, a practice that, while technically legal if done properly, becomes tax evasion if the primary purpose is avoiding taxes rather than legitimate business reasons. The documents allegedly detail specific endorsement deals where payments were made to these corporate entities rather than to Zhao Lusi personally, allowing her to pay corporate tax rates significantly lower than personal income tax rates would have been on the same earnings. What makes the allegations even more explosive is the claim that Liu Yuning was involved in some capacity, either as a business partner in these entities, as someone who introduced her to the accountants or financial advisors who designed these structures, or as someone running similar schemes himself who she learned from or collaborated with. Chinese tax authorities have been cracking down aggressively on celebrity tax evasion for several years now following multiple high-profile scandals that exposed widespread practices of income hiding, fraudulent deductions, and elaborate corporate structures designed primarily to minimize tax payments. The most famous case resulted in an A-list actress being hit with penalties and back taxes totaling over 100 million yuan, and effectively ending her career as she was blacklisted from new projects, and her existing work was pulled from streaming platforms. The government has made it absolutely clear that celebrity tax evasion will not be tolerated, and that high-income individuals have a particular responsibility to fulfill their tax obligations as examples to the broader public. This context makes the allegations against Liu Yuning and Zhao Lusi especially dangerous because authorities are actively looking for cases to prosecute as deterrent examples, and two popular young actors at career peaks make perfect targets for demonstrating that fame and success provide no immunity from consequences. The former agency behind these allegations has its own questionable motivations that complicate the narrative and raise questions about whether this is genuine public interest, whistleblowing, or malicious retaliation disguised as civic duty. Zhao Lusi's departure from this agency was notoriously acrimonious, with reports at the time suggesting disputes over money, creative control, and contract terms that she felt were exploitative and unfair. The agency had managed her during her early career rise, but their relationship deteriorated as she became more successful, and apparently began questioning whether the financial arrangements and control they maintained were in her best interests. When she eventually terminated the contract and moved to new representation, the agency reportedly fought the separation aggressively, demanding compensation they claimed they were owed for investing in her career development during her less successful early years. The fact that these tax allegations are surfacing now, months after that bitter separation, strongly suggests this is revenge for her leaving and a calculated attempt to damage her career and finances in ways that benefit the spurned agency, either by forcing her to settle financial disputes to make the allegations go away, or by damaging her earning potential so severely that the new agency that stole her gets a much less valuable client than they thought they were acquiring. Lu Yuning's involvement in this situation is the aspect generating the most confusion and speculation because unlike Zhao Lusi, he has no known previous connection to the agency making the allegations. Why would her former management company have any information about Lu Yuning's tax situation or business practices? The most prevalent theory circulating right now is that the agency discovered some connection between the two actors through their investigation of Zhao Lusi's finances. Perhaps they share accountants, financial advisors, or business managers who recommended similar tax minimization strategies to multiple celebrity clients. Another possibility being discussed is that Lu Yuning and Zhao Lusi had some kind of business partnership or joint venture that the agency uncovered during their documentation process, and they're including him in the allegations to make the entire matter more newsworthy and publicly damaging since scandals involving multiple celebrities always generate more attention than single-person controversies. A darker theory suggests the agency is deliberately trying to create the impression of romantic or personal relationship between Lu Yuning and Zhao Lusi by linking them in these allegations, knowing that relationship speculation will amplify the scandal and create additional reputational damage beyond just the tax issues. The legal process that Lu Yuning and Zhao Lusi are now facing could extend for months or even years depending on what the tax authorities' investigation discovers and how the actors and their legal teams choose to respond. The initial summons to the Tax Bureau for questioning is standard procedure when allegations are filed, giving the accused parties an opportunity to provide their version of events, submit documentation supporting their tax filings, and explain any transactions or arrangements that might appear suspicious without proper context. If the tax authorities find the explanations and documentation satisfactory, the matter could potentially be resolved relatively quickly with at most some additional taxes and modest penalties. However, if the investigation determines that serious violations occurred, particularly if they conclude the violations were intentional evasion rather than honest mistakes or reasonable differences of interpretation, the consequences could include massive penalty payments potentially totaling tens of millions of yuan, criminal charges that carry potential prison sentences, and complete career destruction as entertainment platforms and brands immediately terminate all relationships to avoid association with tax criminals. The entertainment industry is already reacting to this developing scandal, with the kind of cautious distancing that happens whenever celebrities face potentially career-ending legal troubles. Multiple brands that have endorsement deals with either Lu Yuning or Zhao Lusi are reportedly holding emergency meetings with their legal and marketing teams to review contracts and determine what actions they're required or permitted to take in response to these allegations. Most celebrity endorsement contracts include morality clauses that give brands the right to terminate the relationship if the celebrity engages in illegal conduct or behavior that damages their public image in ways that could harm the brand by association. However, these clauses typically require actual proof of wrongdoing, rather than just allegations, creating a difficult calculation for brands trying to balance protecting their interests against treating the celebrities unfairly by assuming guilt before any official determination has been made. Some brands are likely already preparing termination notices or suspension announcements, just in case the investigation results confirm serious wrongdoing, while others are taking a wait-and-see approach to avoid acting prematurely in ways that could damage their own reputations if the celebrities are ultimately cleared. The production companies behind Lu Yuning and Zhao Lusi's current and upcoming projects are facing their own crisis management challenges as they try to determine how to handle the uncertainty surrounding their lead actors' availability and marketability. Several major productions are currently in various stages of development or active filming with one or both of these actors in starring roles, representing investments of tens of millions of yuan and the livelihoods of hundreds of cast and crew members. If either actor becomes unavailable due to legal proceedings, or if their involvement becomes seen as a liability that will tank viewership and commercial performance, productions could face catastrophic losses and might need to consider recasting, a nightmare scenario that would require reshooting completed scenes, adjusting scripts, and potentially missing release windows that have been carefully scheduled and negotiated.